Hi, everybody. Today I've got Donovan Gall with me, and he is a number vibration person, somebody that understands numbers. And it's not something that I've really delved into. I sort of understand how you can put your birth date together and add it up, but I don't know the intricacies of the process. So welcome, Donovan. How are you?
Thank you so much. Yes, I'm good. I'm good. So I'm sitting in my van in Canberra, right? So we all know there's a lot happening in Canberra at the moment, but I live here. I've lived here since 1986.
Right.
So having grown up in Canberra, it's very interesting times that we're experiencing, and yeah, it's all moving so fast. But it's I wouldn't miss it for eons. I really wouldn't. You know, anyone who's been in touch with their spiritual, what they're here to master, and in this lifetime and on their spiritual journey, is having a very palpable, powerful experience at the moment as we're watching the consciousness, go through its transformation, so that we get to something that we all feel is coming, which is that higher vibrating planet, and humanity really coming back into its wholeness and its oneness again. But it's not easy because, at like all change in the universe, it has to go through a metamorphosis. We have to die whilst still being alive, practically, in order to find, grow our wings and then create the world we really want to have. And it's been I'm in contact with a lot of people because I've been doing a lot of number work for a long time, and that's led me to develop really beautiful, close connections all around the world. And just you get a gauge on the collective consciousness just through feeling into what people are personally and uniquely going through within themselves. And this is something that I certainly was I guess shown with number vibrations and energies that, I noticed on your video when I quickly clicked and checked you out, you were talking about how we live in a duality reality, and and polarity. And one of my favorite sayings I always say is, what is happening micro is what's happening macro, and it's simultaneous. And I feel like the massive shift that we're seeing happen is, all the triggers coming up for us, all the healing that needs to be done. It's happening on a micro, unique, just level within each of us, and then we see it playing out on the world stage. And really, that's what the journey is all about, is coming into so I'll just speak for my own direct experience. That's all I ever do, not for anybody else, but it's all about coming back to wholeness within yourself. And as we get to know thyself and the creator that we are, then we start to, emanate that out into the world, and then we start to see things change on a much larger level. But, there's no separation between self and all and self. So in all directions, anything we heal within ourselves starts to heal out there. Any conflict and trigger we got going on within us, we see playing out there. And that's that real, the polarity is that everything's a mirror back to us to show us what we're here to learn, develop, master in this lifetime. And then as we do that, we start to see things out in the world change. And you can feel it ramped up now to the highest degree. I've been down a bit at Camp Epic, and I've been at the protests, and I was with our First Nations people when they first came to Old Parliament House at Camp Muckada, and very, very powerful experience. And that's when I met Darren Price, who you recently interviewed. And it's funny. It's a bit weird for me because for 2 years now, a lot of us have had a lot of online digital interaction and not a lot of heart-to-heart, face-to-face, meat suit to meat suit interactions. So it was kind of weird. And I'm walking up the hill there towards New Parliament House, and I hear this Donovan, And I turn around and there's this guy looking at me, and he's like coming towards me. He's like beelining for. He's like, Donovan, and I'm like looking at him, and he saw the look on my face, and I said, oh, you know, I'm kind of used to this synchronicity of life, and this is how I flow and operate, you know, since I learned. And so I don't get too rattled, but I was kind of like, yeah, no, I really don't recognize you. And he just came up and he said, oh, I've been following you on Cosmic Gateway with Alicia Brachet and with, you know, with Annalyn Harper and Dale Holmes, and oh, you've been like really been helping guide my journey and etc. And as soon as he said that, I'm like, okay, soul brother, soul family, you know, and that just, and it all goes from there. And that's it. I'm still not quite used to that, because for 2 years we've really been having a lot of online interaction like this, you know.
Yeah.
So when you finally physically get in front of your soul family, it's just, it is epic, you know, pun intended. It is absolutely epic. To be in the presence of each other and just share your journey, your stories, and where you're at within yourself. It's just, and it's all about love. It's all about love.
I totally agree. I totally agree. So today in Canberra, we'll just explain, we may have a bit of a weird connection. So bear with us if it drops in and out or slurs or whatever. It's because they're probably playing the same stuff, the same tricks in Canberra with the Wi-Fi. So we'll do the best we can. So what's happening there today? Because, you know, we knew what had happened last week, that many people had left to go back and regroup. How is it there today, which is the next day after the next weekend after that massive one last weekend?
Yeah. Well, it's, look, I didn't go down today. I made that conscious choice. It was so intense last Saturday that a lot of us, you know, we had to revisit the idea that as we, and I will call it, as we navigate this spiritual war that we're in, you know, because we know from a higher perspective, we're fighting off a lot of darkness. We know that energetically we need to regroup within ourselves. So we all have to just tap into our body, into our field, and make that choice when when to go down and be amongst it and when not to. So I actually chose not to go down today, but with the little that I've seen online today, it looks like there's about 5,000 to 10,000 people down there today. And so it sort of got the energy of trying to just maintain pressure, you know, keep the message coming toward the ones that they want to hear it. It is still, again, very much I feel like politically driven, right? So there's all the different angles, but the beauty is there's still so many people that's still going to be making a big impact, especially on your Canberrans, who most people might know that Canberra really does, it kind of sits in its own bubble.
I lived there for 4 years. I lived there. I went to college there, so I know it well.
Oh, right. What college did you go to?
Well, I went to the CCAE, which is what the Canberra Uni used to be.
Yes, right. That's
out near Belconnen. So it was when the Australian Institute of Sport sort of first started. So this is many moons ago, let me tell you. So it's changed a lot, but I loved Canberra. I had the best time there. And I know that it's got heavy energies, but there is something else that's beautiful about it that I really did experience.
And there's a huge amount of beauty in this place, and it's a city that's designed where nature is integrated with the suburban built environment. So, you know, if you know how to connect with, you know, what's actually here, you can have a great life in Canberra and a really great experience. You know, to be honest, I've only recently, in the last 12 months to 2 years, as this has all been unfolding, really started to realize that there was this other element to Canberra. But it's a funny thing. So here's another synchronicity. I've got so many synchronicities with you already. This is how this beauty works, right? So you mentioned CCAE. Now, on the site that was CCAE, it became CIT, which is Canberra Institute of Technology, which is where I did my horticultural training. It was originally in Western Creek, and then they moved out to Bruce, which is the site that you went to, right?
Yeah.
And in different iterations, I ended up working for CIT out there at Bruce. So there's our first synchronicity right there. And but yes, no, look, and Canberra's been named by Lonely Planet as it got named one of the, not, if not the most, but one of the most livable cities on the planet. And it's very true because it's very organized. It's a planned city, which plays into, you know, we know why there's all the other polar aspects of why it was a planned built city, right? But on the surface level, and if you can tap into the heart of Canberra, and I've seen this city grow from 1986, where there was a lot less people here. I guess you adapt to the frequency, and then you make of it whatever your reality experience is going to be of that. You know, it's like any of us, wherever we're put by the universe. You know, it's up to you what you are going to choose to make of your experience. So I actually have a great love for this city, and I have a good life here, you know. It's really beautiful. So yeah, 5 to 10,000 down there today. So it feels like it's got a different energy, but it's really about just maintaining that, you know, we're not going away. And there is a lot of dedicated people, you know, the guardians, as Michael Griffin likes to call them, are just going to keep the pedal to the metal, so to speak, and just keep at it until they get a result. And many people can't go home at this point because they have no jobs to go back to. Some of the borders, I mean, some people are saying I can't get back into WA, etc. But apparently you can, because not all entrances back into WA are actually manned. But I know there's a core group, but a lot of them are here by choice. They want to stay here, you know. So, so I think what's happening is, you know, there's going to be waves of it ramping up and then coming sort of down a bit and ramping up and coming down, which is the natural progression of things, you know, as we get to where we want to get to. But the feeling, you know, I guess maybe a lot of people got scared off by the weaponry that was used on us last Saturday. It was pretty palpable. I was there and I suddenly felt very ill. I'd actually been off with my lower back. I have a bit of a history of lower back issues, but on the day I woke up feeling quite good. But when I got down there, within 15 minutes of being right up at the actual lawns there with everyone there, I suddenly felt dizzy, dehydrated. And I just said to my wife, I've got to lie down. And we just went off the side and found some grass, and I just lied down and just went, oh, I feel really off. And then I was one of the lucky ones. Other than that, it wasn't too bad. I didn't get any burns or any, you know, blistering or anything like that. But it really just hit home, you know, of what we're actually taking on here. You know, this is, you know, as much a war as any other war. It's just in a new way, you know. But I think many of the people that have been on their spiritual journey in the past 10, 15 years, we all felt this time was coming, you know. We've all been talking about the Great Awakening and the raising of consciousness, and what some people term the Earth moving into 5D experience, you know, from a 3D type dense kind of, you know, experience of being on planet Earth. And you know, as a lot of us understand, in the polarity of things sometimes have to get worse before they can get better.
Well, you have to see the depth to which we've fallen before we can move out of it. Like if you're not aware of what's underneath everything, you can't really cleanly move out of it. You actually have to be aware, I think, from my experience anyway.
100%. Like when we're delving into ourselves, right? It's not till we really acknowledge and embrace the aspects of self that are coming up that want our attention. We have to know what that is before we can sort of heal that and then move into that next best version of ourselves. So again, it's macro and micro playing out at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, I'm personally feeling quite excited about what's happening. You know, and seeing what's happening all around the world, I get really excited. And a lot of my love and light spiritual friends, you know, a lot of people know I'm pretty raw. I'm pretty straight to the point. You know, I don't sort of love and light everything away. I like to have that balance of being fully in my body and in the 3D experience, while also being aware of my higher self, my multi-dimensional aspects, and trying to integrate all of that, and then vibrate out into the world, however that comes, you know. And so as I watch the world go through this mass consciousness awakening, I just get really excited, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm so glad it's
Yeah.
here. I'm so glad we are seeing such evidence of everybody standing up and taking action and asking questions and wanting to know why, wanting to know more. And that's really, it's very heartening. It's fabulous that it's sort of taking over the entire world. Every country has people now that are asking these questions.
And I'm not surprised, getting into a little bit of numbers, right? I'm not surprised that it's hit its peak in 2022, right? So when we talk about numbers, so, well, I might as well just sort of give you a bit of an introduction to how I got to this stage with numbers. I had a dark night of the soul, which a lot of people understand as when you go through that really, where a lot of the constructs of your life break down, right? And it's a call to remember, and a call to remember why you're here and what you're here to do and what you're here to bring. And that usually happens by some very, very, very hard experiences. So at the time, I had been bullied in a public service job. I was a horticulturist for 27 years, and then I wanted to try something different. So I went into the office environment, which was never for me because I'm nature boy, right? So I was being driven by the money and the income, which is just not who I am. It's not my soul. It's not my mission. And so as soon as I tried to do that, naturally, the path led me through a series of experiences. So I got bullied in this public service job to the point I got to the lowest I'd ever been in my self-confidence and fell into a short depression. And I was very aware of depression because I have three sisters. And
jump in?
Yeah.
I too was in the public service and got bullied and went through the greatest challenge of my time in that public service environment of this. So there's another synchronicity for you.
This is brilliant. Yeah, I love it. And so as you would know, what happens is you get put on your knees. As I like to say, the universe puts you on your ass, right? And you have to get quiet and you have to listen. And so at the time, I was listening to a lot of Dr. Wayne Dyer. I had discovered Hay House Radio. I was just soaking everything up like a sponge, right? But what happened was I knocked a book off the shelf, and it was Dan Millman's The Life You Were Born to Live. And I picked the book up, which my first girlfriend gave to me many, many years before. And I was like, oh, whatever, and put that on the shelf and ignored it, right? So I'm at home. I'm at the lowest I've ever been. I'm depressed. I'm not motivated. I'm not eating well. I'm not healthy. And I'm all that. And I knocked this book off the shelf and I open it up and I'm like, oh, how does this work? And it was a book on describing your life purpose according to your numerology. Okay. So I flipped and quickly worked out my numbers. I flipped to the pages of my life path number 33, a 33-6. I read it all. I sat back and I went, oh my God. And it was like a light came on, I was just like absolutely blown away how it described my entire life, my entire experience, and my entire internal experience since the day I was born, and how I understood the world and the universe and myself. And I was just like so blown. So it just immediately it grabbed me. And that was the beginning of everything that went from there. And so then I was just sponging up spiritual knowledge. It led me to go down every rabbit hole. We're talking 2012 here. Actually, it was earlier than that. It was about 2009, but I started sponging up everything I could get my hands on. I was listening to angel card readers, and I discovered the tarot, and I just was listening to Hay House Radio 24/7, really latched onto a lot of Dr. Wayne Dyer's teachings. And then I started to experience synchronicity at the highest level. And it was just blowing my mind. I'm just like learning to live in a state of allowance, not a state of resistance. And then the more I studied numbers, the more I started to feel them as energy and guides, right? And I started sharing this with people, and it unlocked some kind of ancient knowledge in me that I was just like constantly getting blown away. Like I just say, oh, what's your numbers? And I started doing everyone's numbers. And then I'd just start like expressing what I had learned. So there was a basis in learnt knowledge and numerology, Pythagorean numerology, but then there was this other level that just started to kick in, which was energy and frequency and vibration. And as soon as I started using the numbers with people, I started to feel them, and it's like I could know things about them, and I'd start sharing it, and they just sit there and just go, "Oh my God, how did you know that?" And I'm like, so when people say to me, "What are numbers?" Because I have to tell you that I met a numerologist through my first girlfriend, her uncle, many, many, many years ago. And he told me about numerology, and I went, "That's just about the stupidest thing I've ever heard." I thought it was ridiculous, right? Because I wasn't ready,
Yeah.
I just, and my soul was not at that point where it was ready to make that choice to open up to something far beyond that limited reality I was living at the time. So, and as we know with energy, it's all about coherence and resonance, coherent energy and resonance it opens something up. So once that happened with Dan Millman's book, and I started to share this knowledge, and I was starting to experience this sharing and I started learning so much from the people I was working with. So I was benefiting and learning. I was like, everyone's my greatest teacher as I'm sharing with them stuff, and they're going, "Oh, wow, that's amazing." I started to realize this is something that I think I may have studied in a past life. I've remembered some kind of knowledge, but the way that it works for me is I can feel through the numbers, and I can feel the energies and vibrations of the frequencies. And what started to happen is I'd either write down the numbers of someone's name or look into their birth date, or even I'd just meet them and I'd just get bombarded with certain number codes. And I would just naturally be able to feel the frequencies, what's going on with them and how I might be able to assist them in some way. So that's pretty much how it developed.
It's another form of intuition. It's like clairaudience, clairvoyance, and you use the vibration of the number, because there's no accident that somebody is born on a certain day. There's no accident that they're given a certain name. And if you work out the numbers, so it shows the interconnectedness of all reality.
100%. And people say to me, "Donovan, why numbers?" And I'm like, I didn't, it's not really like I chose that. But as I've developed my deeper understanding of numbers, the way I see that they're just another expression of energy that the universe is using as a tool to work with us. So it really doesn't matter, because I talk with people about astrology, I talk about tarot, I talk about, healing, energy, light language, all that stuff. It's all the interconnectedness of all energy that is, and it's just using different forms and expressions that will become resonant to the right person in the right moment, if that's going to be coherent with them.
Yeah. Would you do an example with my name, if you would? Or
sure. I literally was just writing down your name before we got on the.
I was born Joanne, Joanne, but for a long time I've gone by the name just Jo, J-O. Would you recommend somebody go back to their original name, or to the name that they most identify with?
Right, you just answered your own question.
The one you most identify with.
Well, it's always a choice. Everything's a choice, right? So if you're feeling you want to be Jo, then there's a number code and an expression and an energy to that, right?
Yes.
And that feels different. Someone calls you Jo feels very energetically different to someone calling you Joanne, right?
Well, I did many years ago, I created a little cassette of affirmations as I would go to sleep. And I had, you, Joanne, are fully healed. I, Joanne, am blah, blah. And as I would go to sleep and I'd hear Joanne, I'd go, because it's what I was called when I got into trouble, Joanne, the whole name.
Right.
So it has but then I think you've got to, in a way, funnily enough, come to peace with being called Joanne. Like, I can see this, there's many facets to what this is all about. But I think, I feel that I am Jo, really. And look, can you give me 5 seconds? Somebody's knocking at the door. Hold on a sec. Hold on. There we go. I think we're okay now. We're good now.
Just the postman.
Yes. No big deal.
The Postmaster General. No kidding. That's funny. Yeah, okay. So already interestingly, I can see that you've just painted a story, right? And what's really interesting about your codes in Joanne and Jo, right? Jo is, so J and O is 1 and 6, 1 6. Okay. And ANNE is 1555. That equals 16, 1 and 6. So whether someone calls you Jo or they call you Joanne, you are whole and complete, either one, and which goes with your affirmation. So it doesn't matter. You can be Jo or Joanne. You're whole and complete. It's already showing that in the number codes.
Interesting.
So it's like I'm not losing anything by dropping off the frequency of Anne in my full name expression. I'm not losing anything. If someone calls me Jo, I've still got the fullness and wholeness and completeness of that 1 and 6 energy.
Oh, interesting.
Very interesting. I don't know if you can see. Sorry, I'm in the van, but it's probably, is that backwards for you?
No, it's the right way. Yes, I see what you say, 16. And you know, when you add up my date of birth, it's 7.
Okay. So you're a 7 life path?
Yeah. So 6 and 1 is 7.
Correct.
So the 7 is my.
That's right. And that's why I wrote 7 above your name here, because you get the two. Oh, this is backwards. Hang on. I get it.
Yeah.
16 and 16. 6 plus 1 is 7. 6 plus 1 is 7. So we get a 7 code from Joanne. Now, I mean, it's endless. This is the thing about the number vibrations, right? It is absolutely endless when you start to dive deep. Just the patterns and the cosmic orchestration of who you are and what is contained within your blueprint, right? And what I love to do is I like to keep things really simple, because like any one of the modalities that we use, you can actually drive yourself insane. So truly, it's like the crazy scientists.
Yeah.
If they delve so deep into the aspects of creation, some of them actually go insane.
Yes. They lose touch with reality.
Absolutely. So I like to always try to keep things as simple as possible. And this is why I've been connected to Pythagorean numerology. Now, there are many different types of numerology. Okay, there's Vedic numerology, which comes out of India. And, we've got full count numerology, and we've got the gematria stuff. So Jewish gematria, simple gematria, 3 different types of gematria, right? And I delved into a lot of those, but it kept bringing me back. And I would meditate on it, and I would get visions of like Pythagoras and Tesla in my meditation coming at me. And it was almost like they were saying, no, keep doing what he said it yourself earlier on with the light language you just activated me with. Keep doing what you're doing. They just kept saying to me, don't keep doing what you're doing, Donovan. It's right on track. And as I kept working with the Pythagorean, it just became more and more powerful because it's so simple. Yeah. But it's through the simplicity I can see the complexity.
Right.
If that makes sense.
It's the microcosm of the macrocosm, the simplicity and the, in the grain of sand is an entire universe.
Absolutely. Fractals of, within fractals.
Yeah.
So it's really beautiful, because when I see numbers on a page with someone's name on the birthday and I see them, they just dance for me. They sing, they sing, and we've got Joanne. So we've got 161555, right? So with the 1 and the 6, that code, I'm seeing a highly spiritual person. I'm seeing someone who understands the heart and understands that the ultimate answer to life through the way that you'll express your journey and what you're here to master is to teach through love, right? And with the 555 there, which is the number of change, that's how things are going to change, through the heart, through love, and helping people reconnect with that love. But with the 1 in front of the 6, it shows me that you will lead. You will be a leader in bringing that knowledge to the people. And that's all just come from Joanne,
Yeah.
And then with Gifford, which is your surname, which is probably, is that a married name or?
No, it's my maiden name. I grew up with Gifford.
Okay, brilliant. I love working with maiden names, because that's kind of the true essence that you originally expressed under, and also talks about your family ancestry and bloodlines and things like that. But Gifford, so we've got 7966694, right? So again, we've got a triple vibration of the 6. Now, what's interesting about the 666, and it always comes up in a lot of readings, people go, oh, the 666, Donovan, what's with the 666? It freaks me out. And I'm like, that's just programming, right? Because as we know with satanic forces, what they do is they grab everything and they invert it.
Yes.
Okay. So 666 is actually the opposite to what people have been indoctrinated to believe.
That's what I think.
666 is a triple number code, a triple power of the number 6, which is love, heart, family, relationships, connection, humanitarianism, children. That, okay, and you've got in Gifford, right, sitting there in the middle of Gifford, right, FFO, we've got 666.
Yeah.
So sitting at the center of your expression of who you are and how you'll go about your mission, which is your life path number. We'll get into that in a minute. But how you'll express that mission is through the teachings of love and the heart. And some of this has been passed down to you through your ancestry. This knowing that you have that the ultimate answer to everything is love. You know, and then sitting at the front of Gifford, we've got the number 7 again. So it's through spiritual understanding, it's through spiritual love that you will teach, because then we've got the 9. You will teach. You're a master of teaching spiritual concepts to people through connecting with them through the heart. And then again with another 9, I'm sitting in front of someone who really you've got many eons of experience of incarnations that you studied stuff that you now bring through with you in this lifetime. And then with the D on the end, we get the 4. You're going to ground that in. You're going to make it real and practical so people can connect with it. And that's all just come from Gifford. Yeah.
Iendo yakoyetsi Ikochetsa zukoyetsu jayosha. Zujeya zekinga oteana okea satsietukoya.
Wow. Yes, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. It's like music. It's just
it
gorgeous.
Is. They are saying that you have honed in on me and what I'm here to do. Beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful. I love it. And having been a musician, I'm a drummer, and having been a musician, it's like frequency, energy, vibration. It doesn't matter if you're using the voice box and that expression, right? The universal forces can express that music through you, whether you call it light language, singing, talking, whatever it be. And I love light language because it takes away the cognitive mind.
Yeah.
And gets you into your heart, and you just have to feel what you're receiving.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I love it. That's some of the most beautiful light language I've heard, actually. And does it change? Do you find it changes from week to week, day to day?
Yeah, it depends on who I'm talking to.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just simple codes and frequencies, but a lot of the time it's a person, it's a being, and that being is coming through for you or for whomever is listening, for them specifically, to activate them, to maybe, as I've said before, turn on an on switch for the next phase of their lives, or to clear out old trauma, to recode DNA. It can be different. I've brought through Shiva, and I've just I've just sort of allowed my mind to be 100% open. And I had this experience once where I was told I was going to be a universal translator. Just so it is many different beings, it changes. People get a Pleiadian feel for it. But I'm still learning. I've been only speaking it for just on 3 years. So I'm still learning to translate it. Often I don't know what I'm saying, but I do let it flow. And how I know is because people feel it and it resonates. And some people say it feels like a warm hug. Other people say it feels warm and tingly. Others say it feels like warmth in their body. So that's the greatest confirmation, is how people feel it and how they express to me that they feel it.
Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. I must admit, having been a very big meditator for many years now, I actually studied Raja Yoga when I was a kid. I was brought up in the Catholic Church, played music in the church. Then I got a drum lesson with a very famous drummer, and he was in a thing called Raja Yoga. And we're like, what's that? And then it's an Eastern philosophy, Indian-based meditation philosophy that came out of India. They're known as the Brahma Kumaris World Spiritual University. And I went and did the course, and then I learned to meditate at quite a young age. So I was like between the age of 12 and 16.
Wow.
Instead of doing what most young kids were doing, I was going to morning class and doing meditation, and in my holidays, spending it at the brother's house, just sitting in meditation and learning laser point focused, open eye meditation. And that was my real training ground, I think, for how the rest of my journey has unfolded. But it's happened to me. I've been in meditation, I've come out, and I've just felt this expression coming through me, and I've realized I was talking some kind of other language, and then I discovered later that was what we call light language. I'm like, well, that's cool, awesome. I like that. It feels good, it feels very natural.
Yeah. I think it's I understand it to be not fickle, not double meaninged. It's absolutely straight as an arrow in its intent, and that truth is what resonates as well.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it feels lovely to be on the receiving end of that. Is I feel honored. I feel really honored. It came to me like a thank you. It was almost like a lot of gratitude and thank you. That's what I was getting.
Yes.
So that was very, very nice.
They're very much honoring you for your contribution to who you are. Just existing as who you are is absolutely wonderful, according to them, what they're bringing through.
Thank you. No, I feel that. So 2022, interesting codes. So getting back, I was mentioning earlier, to why I think, it's such a powerful year, and would be for you too, with all these sixes in your name. 222 obviously equals 6. So 2022, we get the 222 code, which equals 6, which is all about the heart, right? So what we're experiencing, and especially we know with certain aspects of the heart in all levels, so the physical level, we're seeing things happening in the world with people's hearts without getting too much into that stuff. And then on an energetic spiritual level, people are getting their hearts activated when they're getting around coherent frequencies and energies of loving, kind people who they feel that they are connected to with the freedom movement and things like that,
Well, that's what happened with Darren. Did you see the interview? He said people were saying they could see his heart activating.
Yeah, 100%. And it's beautiful to see around the world under the code of 222 and that 6 energy, just seeing people are waking up and remembering love again. That, hang on, we've been so separated from each other. When did we stop learning to love each other and support each other? Even though, right? And I'll get right into the 222, even though, whoops, did you lose me? Sorry.
You're there. I can see you again. You briefly went away.
Yeah, need to charge a little bit. I'll do that now. 2, represents duality and polarity and division and segregation. Yeah. So we've got a triple-fied energy this year, where all that 222 energy is ramped up to its highest vibration to try to bring on the full expression of the entire code of the 6, which is love, the heart, the family, relationships and connection, bringing us all back to reminding ourselves that love is the answer, and we're all in one big happy human family, you know, and that we're here to love each other and create the world we want. So, but we have to go through this 222 vibration to get there, you know. And the thing is, 2 is the counselor, 2 is the mediator, right? 2 is actually the person that is trying to balance. 2 is balance, is trying to balance up this and that, you know. 2 is about decision and which way do you want to go? What do you want? You know, this or that, yin or yang, in or out, you know. And this is part of the code of the year of 2022. And it's also about making a decision. And what we're all experiencing at the moment, especially with the movement, in the movement and in Canberra, right? You're seeing all this stuff play out where people are going, oh, who do I listen to? That guy? Do I listen to Bosie? Or that guy, UAP? Do I go with those guys? Or do I listen to the First Nation sovereigns? Because have they got the answer, right? And we're all going through this constant push and pull of, I need to make a decision. Oh my God, which way, you know, and it can be overwhelming. But this is the beautiful challenge and the lesson in the energy of the number 2. And I wanted to mention too, every number from 0 to 9, right? Every number has its positive aspects, if you like, and its challenge aspects, or what it's here to come to teach, or what it's here trying to master, that vibrational energy, right? So every single number, so you look at what the number represents in its full expression. Okay, like 6 is about, I've already mentioned, love, family, connection, and the heart. What is the opposite? If you want to know what the challenge or the teaching of the 6 is, look at what's the opposite to those things. So that the lesson of the 6 is overgiving, you know, overgiving to others at the detriment to yourself. You know, such a big thing for 6 life paths like myself, right? I'm a 33 6, but a lot of 6 life paths, right? They end up completely killing themselves serving other people because they've forgotten that if they don't fill their own cup, they'll get burnt out and they're of no use to anyone anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a part of the vibration of 2022. But the teaching of the 222, right, is, okay, you've got choice. Okay, so what do you want to do with it? And what the 2 is here to teach you is that you have choice. And this is the big conversation in the movement, right? It's like we forgot we actually do have choice. We forgot that we had choice and we gave it to a corporation to tell us what to do and how to live our lives. And, you know, and it's about coming back through that teaching of that 2 vibrational energy, saying, okay, become your own mediator. Find that balance within yourself. Realize that you can choose how this plays out as you choose what you do within you. And really embracing and acknowledging that there will always, I had to tell you about this, is so powerful. I saw your video and talking about synchronicity and all things in the ether being available on infinite potential levels, and that we can all pluck out of this infinite ether of all potentials information that's available to all of us, right?
Yeah.
You wrote the sine wave. You drew it. You drew, and you were talking about the ups and downs of the spiritual journey.
Yeah.
And that, you know, that it's always going to have its highs and it's going to have its, I've got to go the other way, its lows.
Yes.
And that is the natural rhythm and movement of all that is happening in the universe, you know, contraction, expansion, like a heartbeat, you know. That's why a heartbeat, it goes contraction, expansion, boom, 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 boom. And this is how everything is expanding infinitely forever. And that ups and downs will always be a part of the journey, but you learn to make peace with it and you enjoy the ride, you know. And you were saying that, you know, the ultimate thing is not to get, it's about not letting these get too high or too low and finding that beautiful equilibrium. So the 2 energy, the lesson of the 2 is very much about finding that equilibrium.
Yeah.
But what I wanted to tell you was, I work with a dear soul sister of mine. I do a bit of mentoring with her and stuff. And it was about a month ago, I got given this in meditation. And I knew that I was going to be sharing that with her because it would really assist her. And it's been coming back again and again and again. I wrote this symbol down,
which is
the two parallel lines and the same curved line that you were talking about, with a very similar sharing of the information that came through for you with that.
Yeah.
And I was explaining to her that this is your balance, okay? This is your journey, the two parallel lines. This is the mission you're on.
Yeah.
And all we're being asked to do is, if life is feeling like a constant roller coaster, it's too extreme. The highs are too high, the lows are too low. This is the self-mastery we're here to master. It's not that it's, a lot of people in spiritual groups are like, oh, you're trying to reach enlightenment and perfection. And I always say, but the perfection is within the imperfection, right?
Yeah.
Which is that curved line. We're not trying to flatline and just make it all the same and perfect all the time, because if we did that, we'd be dead. We wouldn't be having life force energy vibrating through us. And that's a sound wave. That's an energy wave. That's us,
right. That's right. Yeah.
So it's being absolutely at peace with the ups and the downs. But what we want to do is we want to condense that so that we can enjoy the ride without all the chaos and drama that, we're in resistance all the time, and allow ourselves to just ride and enjoy that journey. Yeah.
Yeah. I also use the analogy of the ebb and flow of the tide.
Yeah.
That you come in and out, and high tide is no better or worse than low tide. It's just another form of expression. And what makes the ride better is being at peace with whether you're at the top of the rise or you're at the bottom of the dip. It's just another way of experiencing what we're going through.
100%. Yeah. We express very, very similar concepts that really help. And I know, and I can feel with you that this has come from direct experience within you. I've tried living a life of being in resistance, and it's awful. It's just awful.
Well, I actually said in one other, or maybe it was in that video, my advice is always to ride the wave.
Yeah.
If you're in a state of that's not comfortable, you just grab your courage in your hand and you ride the wave, consciously aware of that you are in this motion. And that's what sees you through.
Beautiful. Exactly. And it's like numbers, right? So from 0 to 9, right? Every number has its different vibrational frequency, right? And it'll come and present itself to you. One thing I really love, probably my most favorite thing, is people come to me with synchronistic number codes they're receiving, like 444 or 333, or it might be 1010, or 1111, which we know is the Great Awakening number, But, each one has its own vibrational blueprint, right? But you will all what I've noticed, just from direct experience and learning from everyone that I work with, is you're never going to keep receiving the exact same number all of the time. You're going to get different numbers because you're evolving, you're expanding, you're changing, in each moment. And then the vibrational energy of that particular number will change and start coming and working with you in a new way.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And really, synchronistic number codes, the reason that they come to us is only the same as anything else synchronistic, like something in nature, is it's an expression trying to get you to come back to yourself and say, who am I at the essence and the core of my being? Am I forgetting who I am, what I am? And if I feel that I'm off my path, the universe will be throwing numbers at me on a number plate, or on the time, on the clock, or through I don't watch TV, but through the TV or through social media, I'll get these codes and I'm like, what does it mean? What does it mean? And yeah, some people are here to go, oh, come to me and I'll help you decode those. But when I help people, the first thing I am always, disclaimer, I say what the numbers are trying to do is that you actually have all the answers, and I'm just here to reflect that back to you so that you unlock that which you already know to be true for yourself.
Yeah, it's a big enough, it's sort of like the universe waving a flag at you. Hey, look, this is no accident, and you go,
yeah,
and the light bulb goes on. You go, well, maybe I better look at something. Maybe I better,
Yeah, 100%. And so it's really beautiful. And this is what so Pythagoras said, all is number. Now, I feel he understood something on such a deep, deep cosmic level, right? The way that it's been presented to me in meditation, all is number. What does that mean? You know, how does that work? And I'm like, and I'm sitting in meditation. I'm saying, show me. How does that? I don't understand. How is all number? And I was shown, like, from the smallest, most minute thing in existence to the biggest things that exist in our universe, you know, galaxies and supernovas and nebulas and all the stuff out there, right, which we're learning to connect with and become, you know, remember that we're a part of all that.
Yeah.
It all is created and expands on numerical formula, right? So we've got in the universe and in nature, we see it everywhere. It expands through a numerical formula, like the golden phi ratio, or the Fibonacci sequence, which a lot of us have learnt about. You know, when you look at a sedum plant and the patterning, or a pine cone, and you see how it expands, it's using that numerical formula that actually creates everything.
Yeah, it's infinite. That
infinite.
ends up being infinite.
It's
infinite. To the big. So
yep.
there's your grain of sand in the center, but there's your galaxy at the end. Yeah.
Right. So
amazing.
No different for you or me or any other being, you know, a soul on this planet having this experience right now. You know, you're all that out there, but you've got the 0 point that exists in the seat of the heart within you, and you connect to the biggest thing, creator, right? The most expanded form of creator.
Yeah.
Right through the 0 point in the heart. Now, all the numbers, right? So if the reason I think I was always drawn back to the Pythagorean 0 to 9 contains all that you need to know, and it's very simple because it always reduces to a single digit, right? All the complexity, all the infinite numbers out there and codes and blueprints all come back to the numbers 0 to 9, because if you think about any number that's used for anything, anywhere, in any way, it all reduces back to those 9 numbers, right? Or zero, which,
I think I understand intellectually what you're saying, but I think you feel it in every cell of your body. And I'm trying to sort of embrace that feeling, but I understand exactly, but I'd love to be able to feel it the way you feel it in your every cell of your being.
Yeah. And I guess that's what I've learned is, like, I'm like, why did numbers choose me? I didn't choose numbers. Why did they choose me? Because that's coherent with my specific blueprint, and my specific soul blueprint, you know, in itself is an encoded, a DNA encoded, you know, formula that makes me, you know, and what makes you, you know, light language is something that's in that encoded formula. That is what you will express, you know? You know, and it everybody is a walking universe. Everybody is an infinite universe. And even though everything's connected, we one of the things about fractals within fractals, you know, you're a unique expression of the all. So we need you to be most you. We need you to be the most you can be, right? Because if you're not being the most you that you can be, what you're doing is you're copying being something that is not what you are. Therefore, you're not creating the next iteration of the next all that is, if that makes sense, right?
Well, it you know, Source wants us, you know, Mother, Father, Principle wants us to be us. It doesn't want us to try, and it's interested only in and it's incredibly interested in our specific manifestation. What is it to be us? And so, of course, it doesn't want us to try to be anyone else. And it's absolutely, what I can feel is it's absolute excitement and fascination and love and interest in who we are individually.
Absolutely. We are so honored and celebrated on every level that when we remember that, we suddenly go, oh, wow, like it brings you to tears. Your heart expands and you go, oh my God, I am love. I feel loved and I am love. And that's all I'm here to do, is vibrate that love in any unique way that I can, you know.
Yeah.
And then you just it's just, yeah, it's such a beautiful experience when you remember, and then you feel that in everything, you know, you feel it in everyone, even if, you know, if they've got a problem with you, you're like, I know at the core of this, I see you in your core essence, there's some pain, or there's some triggering, or there's some bad experiences that you know are still working on you, and whatever. My job is to love you into that next version of what you're here to expand, and love just really does conquer all, you know.
Yeah.
That's why I can listen to people shouting down at the freedom rallies and getting passionate and angry, because anger is just an energy that wants to move, you know, it wants to express itself. And people that are holding or suppressing down the way the universe works, which is emotions, is information. It's encoded with information. It just wants your attention, and it's got something to be expressed. And if you suppress that, eventually it's going to come up either way, right? So that's why people get sick if they emotionally are suppressing what they naturally need to release and express. They'll fall out of balance, and things will go haywire in their system.
Yeah.
So that's why I really love passionate people. And when I'm around those people shouting about the injustices of the world, I actually feel it I receive it in a very positive way. I'm like, oh, listen to that energy, that passion, you know, because I know at the core of this being, even though they're angry at the world, they're still perfect and whole and complete within them anyway. You know, once you remove the triggerings and the experiences that created that energy, but the energy just wants to move. And it's about, I guess, about us learning to channel that energy in a way that's going to bring us what we prefer, rather than bring us more of what we don't want, you know.
Yeah. And seeing somebody like that, a big component of love is compassion and understanding. So when you have somebody screaming, if you can find compassion, this is the way they're expressing at the moment. This is what they're processing. This is what they're dealing with. And if you allow them to have that expression, you're allowing them to move through it. But as you, as the observer, if you're observing somebody that's expressing what you don't think they should be expressing, you are going to inhibit, in a way, their evolutionary growth, because you are influencing, your energy is influencing their energy. So when you are open-hearted and compassionate with anybody, whether it's, you know, what the police are doing, whether it's the protesters, when you can be open-hearted and compassionate, you are helping them allow that energy to move through unhindered, and they're going to understand better or faster, more efficiently, what they're going through, rather than you going, no, that's not right, that's not good, you need to and you might not know that you're doing that, but energetically, from your gaze, from your perceptions, you're having an influence on them.
Absolutely. You know, it's all happening all at once, simultaneously. So I love how you say that. When you hold that frequency of compassion, you're holding space. This is, you know, when I work with people, I always say to them, I'm not going to be a teacher. I'm not your teacher. You are your own best teacher. You know, I say, don't make me a guru. You are your own best guru, right? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold space. And if I hold the right opening and give you permission and hold that space that you can move into, then the answer and the greatest guru and the greatest teacher within you has the permission to open up, and you find your answers in that space, you know, because we can't really actually hold anything. You know, it's like when you meditate, you know, you try and hold a thought. You can't hold a thought. It's almost impossible, you know, but what you can do is you can hold space. And when we meditate, we learn to go into the gap between the thoughts, and it's that gap where all the magic happens, you know, because we get out of mind and we get into heart space, and it becomes all encompassing. And it's in that gap, you know, it's like they say, you know, the famous composer said, the music is actually created by the space between the notes, not the notes themselves.
Yeah.
It's
I
like that.
I totally understand and agree. Yeah, absolutely.
So it's a beautiful thing. But we're in beautiful times, and I really I love to get that message out to people, while you're witnessing all this duality with the 222, okay, realize that there's lots of choice. You're going to go through many, many decisions. You might even have to change a lot of your beliefs this year. That's all part of the process of the duality, and weighing things up and coming into balance. But there's only good that can come from that, which is that 6 vibration, is the culmination of that 222, is heart, love, family, humanity, caring more for each other, nurturing each other, understanding that whatever behavior we're modeling for our children and for our grandchildren. They look to us, and whatever they witness, they take that on. Whatever they feel, the energy, they take that on. And then they are going to be the next iteration of that energy that we are now building for the world,
Yes.
And that's why children are a part of that 6 vibration. It's it's such a beauty, and I love that you got the 666 in your code. I just love that. It's just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. It's such a powerful code. And I bet you're a good hugger, and I bet when you hug people go, oh, just feel something when you hug me, like I can really feel the love.
Yes, when for about 18 years I lived within a community that hugged all the time, and not just but for holding on for like 10 to 15 seconds. And when I came back to Australia, it was the hardest thing. I had to train myself not to naturally hug people because people thought it was odd. But what's happening now since probably in the last 6 months, is people are hugging again because of the not being able to touch, because of all of this 1 meter, 1.5 meters. So it's becoming more common. It's great.
Yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it? And you touched on a really important point there. Again, coming back to this, right? Right?
Yep.
Oh, where's my fingers going opposite? It's really weird because it goes backwards. People, right? I'm gonna go that way. Okay. So people had hugs and physical contact taken away from them during lockdown 2020, right? And then now we're starting to come up and we have that physical touch again. So how did we know what we wanted until it was taken away from us?
Yes, exactly.
So again, it teaches us to be grateful for all experiences because it taught me something. There is no accidents. This has all happened to humanity so that we could get to that point where we go, right, what do we want to create? What do we want? What do we prefer? And maybe it really has taken this really, really difficult thing that we've had to go through for us all to actually get there and go, oh, that's right, we get to create the world we want. Maybe we needed that catalyst, I feel. So in some ways why COVID? I'm grateful for COVID because so much has come from that.
I think it's how do you the phrase is about contrast. This is the polarity. It's about contrast, because how do you know what happiness is unless you've known sadness? You wouldn't know you were enjoying joy unless you had something to contrast it with. So it's all good.
Yeah, it's all good.
It doesn't sometimes feel that way, but if you can be open to what is the lesson, what is the goodness, what is the silver lining, then that's your moment of learning. That's your moment of expansion.
That's exactly it. And what I've also experienced in my own journey, I was really pondering this deeply at one stage a few months ago. I'm like, do we really want answers? Like, there's that whole thing about enlightenment, right? Do I just want to know, like, how does the universe work? I just want to know it all. How does it work? Just show me. And once I know it all, then I'll be the enlightened one. And I'm like, no, I don't think that's the point, right? Because what I think we want is we want to question. Because if you're given an answer, You've been given an answer, that's done, and then that's that, right? So it's closed. An answer is closed. Whereas a question is open. A question is open, which once you open one thing, it opens up another thing and opens up another thing. This is the keys and codes of 2022, right?
Yeah.
The two, you know, you question something and then you get an answer and it opens up, you make a decision, it opens up another thing that you make a decision. Then it opens up another thing and you make a decision. So it's ever expanding. So, you know, is it really that we want all the answers, or is it actually that we're here to learn to just be in the experience of the existence and keep questioning, because it's through the questioning that we're actually creating. We create through questioning, you know?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
You know, like a thought, I always say it like, you know, a thought, okay, is just a non-physical form. So you've got, right, so you've got light and then thought, right? You have a thought and then you express that thought through sound, and that's the expression of the thought through sound, and you're one step closer to physical manifestation. And then once that sound vibration vibrates at a frequency that hits the coherence, it can become a physical thing. But all first is thought. So thought is energy. So that which you think, it literally does become. So by questioning and getting really outside the box and just question everything, you end up just having such a ball and so much fun, because you actually realize, oh, every time I question, I'm creating some new concept that may not exist.
Exactly.
And that makes it makes me a powerful creator being, because, you know, if that's never been questioned, I've just created a whole new universe that might form because of that question, you know, like
it's exciting, isn't it?
It is.
If once you understand that you're the creator, that you really are that creative being in your life, the lawgiver, as you say, you just have to speak. You know, in the beginning was the word. Speak it, ask it, question it. And then the universe goes, okay, I'm going to show you that. I'm going to give you an example of that. I'm going to let you understand that, because you're actually asking in the first place. You're right. You're right.
100%. The infinite abundance that the universe has specifically for all of us and infinitely for everyone is just mind-blowing. And this is what I've found, what I call another natural law, the law of synchronicity, right? The more you interact with it, the more it interacts with you.
Exactly.
Right?
Become aware of the potential and it increases.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because I'm sure you've experienced it. You go through periods of your life where you're getting so many synchronicities, things lining up and all relating to each other, and it's blowing your mind, and you're like, I can't even keep up with it. It's happening so fast. Like, that person said that, then I heard that on the TV, then I turned on the radio and there's the song with the lyric talking about the same thing, and then I get the numbers that go with that, and then, you know, and I heard a tarot reader talking about that very thing, and sometimes it's happening so all encompassing. It's, some people actually get freaked out by it, but I always say, no, that's the beauty, that's, you know, that's showing you. And the more we interact with that infiniteness and the infinite potential, the more it wants to interact with us. And that is the, you know, that is the beauty that you can step into. You know, that you know, life actually is meant to be fun. It is meant to be a joyous celebration of all that you are.
Yeah.
And the polar, you know, experiences are all a part of that. So just work with it and have fun with it and see. You know, it's absolutely amazing what the law of synchronicity will bring you, and it just puts you in a constant state of, wow, what next? What next? It's so much fun. Like, it's exciting, you know.
Yeah.
Every day I get up and I go, what do you got? What's next? What's today?
Yeah.
You know,
it's I think I heard somebody say, ask the universe to wow you today. Create something that makes you go, wow. That's it. Ask. You have to ask.
That's funny you said wow, because wow equals 16. So coming back full circle to the expression of Jo and Anne, which both equal 16.
Equals 16. That's very interesting. Thank you for that. That's and that's good to know about. Like, I never thought of, I knew that the 666 was inverted, that it's actually something good. But I also thought, dare I say it, that it doesn't frighten me if it was the other way around. You know what I mean? Like I just have so much love. I can't really express it or explain it. I'm not afraid of that, you know, of what all that implies in this today's world. For some reason, this is so strong inside of me, that love, no matter who or what.
Absolutely. And as we were talking about being
and we all have that capacity for that intense, incredible love that will overcome anything that comes to us, good, bad, dark, evil. Here, love conquers all.
Exactly. You know, we could make a leaf evil if we wanted to. We could make a butterfly evil if we wanted to.
Yes.
Right? So whatever we project out, whatever we're projecting out, we can create anything. If you want to create evil, great, create evil. If that's what you've got to do, that's fine. You know, not a lot of us want that at the core of the essence of our soul, you know. And I feel like whatever is creating evil on the planet, right? It's in its evolution. It's just not, it's needing to evolve. And it will.
Yep.
And it will.
And us having some aspect of love regarding the whole situation is what's going to help everything evolve.
Yeah, absolutely. Not resistance. It's allowance.
Yeah.
You know, and you're right, the most Christ-like, Christ consciousness, compassionate energy is what is brewing and swimming around this planet now.
Yes.
And it's remembering, it's like, you know, Jesus never turned away anybody to heal them, right? Just because they did this or they said that or they had this disease and not that one. Like he didn't judge. It's, to me, the highest aspect of ourselves that we're learning to step into is non-judgment. You know, it's like anyone could tell me that they've done the worst things in their life. And I'm like, all you need is love. Like literally all you need is love. And if I can love you in your experiences and in all that you've been through, you now have permission to acknowledge that. You can let that go. Now you step into the highest aspect of all that you are. And yeah, it is. The answer is love. It just is.
It is.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it? Because you end up becoming really repetitive about it, don't you? Because it's all you be. It's all you know.
It's really the bottom line answer of everything. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, look, I think we've solved the world's problems in the last hour, have we? It's love.
Yeah, we're just going to wake up tomorrow. It's going to be 5D and everyone's going to love each other and it's just going to be paradise.
Yes, so be it.
All
right.
So it is, my friends, and so it is.
Thank you so much, Donovan, for taking the time to chat with me. So how can people find you? You said you're mostly on social media. We'll put some links below for people to connect with your Facebook page. And yeah, I'm going to have a think about what you've said. Can't wait to watch all this again and think about the numbers and what that. And it's very interesting about Jo and Anne. That's very funny, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for our chat. And people can find me on Instagram and Facebook. Donovan Gall, number Vibrationalist. It's a bit of a mouthful. And yeah, number Vibrationalist on all those platforms. And I have a page and a group on Facebook under the same name. But yeah, so other than that, I don't have a website or anything because I'm not really doing readings at the moment or anything, just supporting and loving people in my way. But if anyone ever wants to reach out, I'm always up for a chat or a private message, and you know you got a question and you feel that I might have something to offer you that might help you, then I'm here to love you. So yeah, just happy with that. If anyone would like to connect, just connect. It's my favorite thing to do. I love it. It's beautiful.
All right then. Thank you so much, and have fun the rest of the weekend in Canberra. I'm sure it'll be wonderful, and it'll be interesting to see what the videos are that come out in the next few days from that area.
Yeah, absolutely. And stay safe, everyone.
Yeah,
And we'll be fine. Yeah.
All right then.
Yeah.
Thank you. Bye-bye.